Siomra beag.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sure Look, Sure Listen, the podcast taking a pop at culture.
Sure look, sure listen. Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen.
Sure look, sure listen. Oh, very exciting, Ben. It must be Halloween because we've got a whole episode full of spooky ghosts and freaky mutants. But sure look, Benjamin... I didn't turn my phone on silent. But sure look, Benjamin... But sure look, doesn't matter. That was just a spooky ghost for this Halloween special. We don't have time to talk about any of that non-being organised stuff because we have to look at, Benjamin, we have to look at the new trailer for Shudder's latest project, Glorious, aka What's J.K. Simmons Up To. Then, speaking of spooky, we're going to have a look at the Haunted Mansion, Disney's The Haunted Mansion, another one of Disney's famous massive successes based on theme park rides. The one thing you can say about Disney, Ben, is they love a lesson. Also, speaking of Disney, we have a new trailer for Peter Pan and Wendy, or as I call it, Ant-Pan and the Wasp. And the last thing that dropped just before we started recording, Benjamin, was a new trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. But that's not all. Because you've seen The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1, and I, Mr. Michael Leonard, have seen Knock at the Cabin, which came out months ago. But now I've seen it.
Sure, Michael, if that wasn't it... Sure, Michael, I've fucked the conceit.
I don't think I was having a great day, Ben, on this intro. Let's just roll it. Let's just roll with the punches. We're like a young Muhammad Ali, Ben. We're just going to roll with the punches.
Michael, that didn't work out very well for him, Michael.
No. Historically,
not great. Turns out rolling with the punches, not the move.
No, avoid
not
them.
The move.
Avoid
them, duck them, dodge them. Just don't take them on the chin constantly.
No.
Anyway,
Brain.
ladies and gentlemen, sure listen, if that wasn't enough, we're also going to be taking a look at March Madness, how the Victorian era literature, penny dreadful, dreaded yellow-covered books shaped even modern perceptions of madness, Michael, and mental health.
Oh, is that what we're doing? How spooky.
How spookily wookily.
What a terrifying, spooky Christmas Halloween episode. Benjamin, you put up a new trailer for me this week for the film Glorious, starring a real grab bag of our favourite actors. My favourite actor from the movie Drum That Faster Boy, it's J.K. Simmons. And your favourite actor from the TV show What's Going On with Sookie, Ryan Kwanton.
It's called... Not Fake Hemoglobin, Michael, is the classic show that came from. And in this particular case, Michael, it's Ryan Kwanton, he's back. He's not a were-panther this time, though, Michael. He's a down-in-his-luck schlubby boy.
He shouldn't have been a were-panther, that was stupid. Benjamin, this is... I tell you what, I'm starting to love Shudder. Shudder is very exciting, isn't it?
Shudder makes some mad shit, Michael.
Benjamin,
Shit.
tell the listeners what Shudder is, for people who aren't au fait.
For those that aren't au fait, and Shudder, if you're listening, get ready, strap yourselves in for one heck of a non-sponsored plug, right? Shudder is a streaming service for horror, Michael, exclusively for horror. Shudder has spent the last half a decade, Michael, crawling its way through the horror archives and saving obscure, strange slashers, odd kind of European horror experimental films. It's remastered them, it's polished them up a little bit, and it's made them available, Michael, easily on their streaming service. Not only that, Michael.
Go on, what else?
Not only that,
yes.
But it's bypassed the big old studio boys and it's gone into producing some of its own original content.
Like Benjamin, Shudder was responsible for the weirdest movie I've seen in a very long time, barely even a movie, Skinamarink.
Skinamarink, Michael. We've said it here before on the podcast, but Shudder is a real... Fuck it. Make it. See what happens. Maybe it'll be scary. Maybe it won't.
So, Benjamin, Shudder have made a horror film about your favourite actor, Ryan Kwanton, and he's stuck in some sort of hellish jacksie with some graffiti depiction of some ancient betentacled god. And to cut a long story short, Benjamin, he's going to have to fuck it.
He's going to have to fuck the physical embodiment of an eldritch horror.
Yes. Very spooky and terrifying, Benjamin. You cannot watch this trailer and not be immediately struck by how Lovecraftian this is.
It's very Lovecraftian, Mike. But Michael, here's the thing, right? It's Lovecraftian absurdism refined to a needle point. Because
I was nearly going to say it's Lovecraftian horror subverted in a way.
Go on.
Because, you know, H.P. Lovecraft was probably afraid of sex.
Oh yeah, he wasn't having any sex, Michael. He wasn't touching those. The big tentacly boys are how he actually viewed sex, Michael. He was
exactly.
just like, it's all tentacles and orifices.
And this seems to be like that taken to its absurdist extreme.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of that in that the eldritch horror here wants to get his rocks off, Michael.
Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's not all about that, Benjamin.
We don't even know if it's real, Michael. Ryan Quanton could just be having a mental breakdown.
He could be. The actor Ryan Quanton is just having a mental breakdown.
Michael, I think that's highly unlikely given that it's Shudder, the internet's premier streaming service for horror. But J.K. Simmons has lent his voice to this horny eldritch boy. And there's so much gravitas to that voice, Michael.
No better voice for it, Benjamin. Ben, the interstitial, I think it's called, the interstitial titles in it with their mysterious purpley pinky fog. Very colour out of space. Very Nicolas Cage.
No good, Michael. Colour out of space can go get fucked. What a film. What a harrowing, scarring film.
I tell you what though, I'm excited by this. I'm excited by Ryan Quanton being stuck in that jacksie.
Michael, I watched it and I went, this looks fucking great.
It does. This very exciting altogether.
This looks like a romp. I am in. I think it's possibly going to deliver that bloody knife edge, Michael, of make myself laugh myself silly and then occasionally snap me back out of it with a very unnerving sequence to the point where I'll go, do I like this? Do I not like this? How do I feel about this?
It's very drippy.
There's a lot of squelching.
Maybe too much squelching for my sensibilities, H.P. Lovecraft would have said.
Yes, and H.P. Lovecraft probably would have hated this. He would have said, no, eldritch beings don't have physical needs.
And also, no foreigners or women, please.
Please.
If at all possible.
Please. Ryan Quanton has fulfilled that in so much as he is a white male.
Yes, H.P. Lovecraft would have been absolutely delighted, although he is an Australian, which H.P. Lovecraft presumably didn't trust.
Probably would have written something about a big dirty list of convicts getting eaten by an eldritch horror on a penal colony.
For example, Benjamin, he wasn't a great egg, H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah, this looks great. This looks great. I'm really excited about this. I'm really happy. I can't wait to see it. I was glad when you put this on the Notion, because we use Notion to organise stuff. I was so excited when you put this up on Notion. I went, what is this? I have no interest in it. It looks low budget. Oh, hold on. It's Ryan Quanton, Ben's favourite actor, Ryan Quanton, and my favourite actor, J.K. Simmons. And it's just a two-hander, Ben. And it looks good.
That's exactly what the entity wants, Michael. A good old-fashioned two-hander.
Good old two-hander. Benjamin.
Yeah.
Speaking of the horrifying entities.
Yeah.
Disney is releasing a new movie. Is it a movie or a show? I think it's a movie. Called The Haunted Mansion. Another show based on their flawless track record of turning theme park rides into hit movies.
It's never gone wrong for them, Michael. Not
Never
once.
gone wrong. Ever since they started it accidentally with Pirates of the Caribbean, which I don't know anymore if that's how I actually say that word or is it part of a bit. But ever since they launched the franchise with that, Ben, there's never been a bad or boring movie based on a Disney theme park ride.
Hasn't happened yet, Michael.
And this is not going to be any different. Looks so exciting.
Going to be a real humdinger. Do you know what always screams good plot and character development to me?
Go on.
When you hunt down every single celebrity that owes you a favour and say, get in that fucking movie.
Put him in there. Get Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito, Owen Wilson.
Yeah. Get them all in there.
Lakeith Stanfield is there. Lakeith Stanfield, who, Michael, was doing very well. So I don't really understand.
I don't know who that is, Ben. Who is that?
Lakeith Stanfield is the dreadlock gentleman that we see in the trailer, Michael.
Yes. What's he been in?
He's been in the hit FX series Atlanta, Michael.
Oh, is he in Atlanta?
He's in Atlanta, the hit FX series Atlanta. He's very big in that. And my pop culture knowledge is failing me here, Michael, but I'll have it for you now. Hang on.
It's okay. You don't do a weekly pop culture podcast. I tell you what, Ben, in the trailer, I thought this was set in the olden days until he appeared.
No, it's very modern, Michael. For some reason, the two main characters that were introduced at the beginning, the young man and Rosario Dawson, They they are dressed like old-timey people.
Benjamin, I hope that is their character names on IMDb. The Young Man and Rosario Dawson.
The Young Man and Rosario Dawson.
It's tonally not very exciting, though, is it? It looks like every other haunted house thing for the last 10 years.
There's a cynic in me, Michael, right?
Oh, yeah?
And he's baying
Is it Ryan
to get
Quanton?
out. He's baying to get out.
Go on.
And Michael, this seems to me like a Disney version of a Key and Peele or a Jordan Peele movie.
Go on.
And I'd
like
that
to hear more.
because they're really leaning. Oh, Jesus, Michael. They're really leaning on the black perspective on this. There's hints, Michael, little bits and pieces there of a kind of a classic Jordan Peele camera kind of snap and close up, and there's lots of Jordan Peele stuff going on here. And I can't help but feel the cynic in me is saying Disney's gone, let's make a Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele won't actually work with us. Let's
make a Jordan Peele about a black family moving into a haunted mansion and not taking any of it.
Not taking any of it, Michael.
Benjamin, I saw that film last week. It was called We Have a Ghost.
Go on.
That's the plot of We Have a Ghost.
Is this a classic movie studio espionage thing where they are both stealing off each other so much so?
Where they're making the same show. It's about a modern black family who move into a creepy old house, and they aren't spooked by the same sort of things that white people are going to be spooked by.
Hell no. They're getting out of there, Michael.
Exactly. As Anthony Mackie himself would say, Ben, cut the check. But I only made it about an hour into We Have a Ghost because it was so boring and no one was very likable.
Oh no, Michael, nobody was likable. That's terrible news.
I couldn't tell who we were supposed to be liking. I think Anthony Mackie's character, the dad, was supposed to be a dick, but Anthony Mackie is quite charismatic, so he didn't really seem like that much of a dick. And then the kid, who was the kind of lead, who would be great in a Michael Jackson biopic if he hasn't been in one already, but he plays it as depressed and whiny, and I don't know if we're supposed to like him and relate to and think the dad is a dick, but they just were both dicks.
I don't know what's going on with Hollywood anymore, Michael.
Yeah.
I don't get it. The unlikable wave of people is always interesting to me, where I'm just like, I think you think your American characters are quippy and smart alecky, but they're just annoying.
Yeah, and that's the vibe I got from this, very much so. I mean, this might as well have been called We Have a Ghost 2.
That phenomenon, Michael, of that snarky, oh, we're so quippy, we're so intelligent, but they're actually just snarky, is such a thing in American television. I'm thinking specifically of Modern Family.
Oh, you're blaming Modern Family.
I'm not blaming Modern Family. I'm thinking of Modern Family. When you watch Modern Family, the TV series, those characters are supposed to be, at their core, good people. They're not. They're remarkably grating, awful people that make horribly selfish decisions frequently.
And your contention is that's what we're going to be watching in Haunted Mansion?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
I mean, all evidence points that way. It just looks like every other mid-budget attempt at a franchise starting blockbuster from the last 10 years. Very uninspiring.
Speaking of things that seem remarkably mid-budget.
Remarkably mid-budget, Ben. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's Peter Pan and Wendy.
Yeah.
And never, Benjamin, in all of the years, now this is just a flat out lie, by the way, but this is called hyperbole, or hyperbole if you're literally minded.
Hyperbole
never
if you're
in
part
all
of this podcast.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Danny DeVito, Benjamin, I'm quite proud of that one. Never in 7 years of podcasting have we seen a trailer that so set out its politics. This was a trailer for this film's political opinions, not this film.
Go on.
Well, first of all, it's not Peter Pan, is it? Because it can't be. It's Peter Pan and Wendy.
Yes, well, we've changed that, yeah, so that there's that.
Like, it's almost like the people who came up with it haven't seen the original. Wendy is the main character of the story Peter Pan.
She is.
It's Wendy's story. Peter Pan is a a fey being that she comes across. So it's always been Peter Pan and Wendy. It would be like calling any other film by the protagonist's name, because their name isn't in the title of the film.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It would be like Die Hard and John McClane.
There's no need.
There's no need. We know. Like, Wendy's name doesn't have to be in the title to make it her story.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's instant. And then obviously the big thing was, we're the Lost Boys. But you're not all boys. So? Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point of the Lost Boys was that they were all boys. And, like, the idea of the Lost Boys was they were boys who'd refuse to grow up.
Yeah.
And Wendy comes along, and Wendy's a girl, and she teaches them to grow up.
Yeah.
But this is like, Wendy's not going to be a girl, though. Wendy's an ass-kicking kung fu, swashbuckling. I mean, yeah, this feels very modern in all of the worst ways.
Yeah. Right down to the colour grade, Michael. I was looking at the colour grade on this, and it looks so dull. It's one of those real washed out like colour grades, and I was like, if ever there was an opportunity for you to bring heaping amounts of bright, vibrant colours to a world, it might be Peter Pan.
Maybe. Or maybe not, though.
I don't know. Was that Kenneth Branagh, Michael, without a hand?
Oh, was it? Was Kenneth Branagh playing Hook?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
I don't even remember, Benjamin. He was such a minor part of it. I don't remember. Probably. Let's assume probably.
Nothing is ever going to, top Jason Isaacs, Michael, as Hook in the bizarre Australian production of Pan. That was very good.
That's a bold statement, first of all.
I stand by it. It was phenomenal. That or Dustin Hoffman in Hook.
No, Hook is not a good film, Ben.
Hook is a phenomenal film, Michael. Bangarang for life. Rufio. How dare you?
Yeah, Rufio and the Lost Boys, Benjamin. Rufio made us all want to have red streaks in our hair.
He did.
But it's still no use as a film. But, oh God, yeah, this looks dreadful. I mean, I don't like being this negative on the podcast, but this looks just appalling.
Michael, here's the thing, right?
Go on,
I have found myself in a personal dilemma every Monday before we record this podcast. I will watch things for this podcast, and I will come away from those things feeling not great about the things that I've watched.
Yes,
and then I will say to myself, no, we need to keep it positive for the podcast, because we don't want to be whiny fuckheads.
Yeah. That's our other podcast, Whiny Fuckheads.
Where we are just toxic beyond belief.
Yeah.
But Michael, come here to me. I don't know if it's me just turning into a grumpy old man. And I think it might be. I think it might be that.
Yeah, probably a bit.
Or is it that things are just getting a little less effort put into them?
Now, funny that you say that.
Go on.
Because the next trailer on our list I thought was fantastic looking.
Fucking phenomenal, Michael.
It's just absolutely great stuff, Benjamin. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. Great. Looks great.
So good. Michael, Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Or, sorry.
Yeah, that's what it was called.
That was what it was called. Yeah. Has utterly changed the animation game.
Utterly changed it, Benjamin, slightly.
But utterly changed it completely, Michael. We've moved away from the Disneyfication of everything to bizarrely kinetic character designs and energy and interesting new soundtracks and funny stories with a bit of extra humour thrown in there. Oh, Michael, it's phenomenal. This looks joyous. I think they might have finally cracked the thing they've been missing from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies all these years, which is that they're for kids.
A bit of crack. Put a bit of crack in them. I tell you what, Ben, I'm going to soft disagree with you what you said earlier, because I don't think we have moved away. This is one example, and hopefully this is a leading example, and we're going to see all sorts of cool animation coming out. But 9 out of 10 movies that are coming out are still that Pixar claymation looking soft face nonsense.
Michael, we did get Puss in Boots.
But
The Last
apparently a
Wish.
great film, Ben.
Fucking
Apparently-
phenomenal, Michael. One of the best films, full stop, I have ever seen.
Yeah, weird. I've just paid for it on Google Play. I'm going to watch it after the podcast. I've heard
Michael,
so many
go
good things
watch it.
about
We'll do a podcast special during the week. We'll do a short episode discussing Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Because,
Okay.
Jesus Christ, Michael, I was so close to texting you after watching Puss in Boots: The Last Wish to be like, we're turning it into a Puss in Boots: Last Wish fancast. Where we are
Very
going
good.
to watch it 52 times, once a week for a year.
Okay.
And we're going to deconstruct it. But
All
we
right,
didn't.
well, let's do that then. Okay. Well, you know I don't like you texting me anyway. Ben, but this looks fantastic. I love that they've gone for an art style. I love that this has an art style.
Oh, it's
First of all.
very distinct.
Very distinctive art style, very weird looking turtles, but great. What I really liked, though, is that they've got teenagers playing the turtles.
That is a genius move.
Fucking great stuff. Not cynical, not Paul Rudd. They haven't got Paul Rudd being Leonardo. They haven't got middle-aged men doing teenage voices. They've put the teenage into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And I'm all for it, Michael. I like that energy.
Great stuff altogether. An all-star cast at the same time,
Michael, it's huge.
other than the four leads.
Bloody Jackie Chan is
Jackie
Master
Chan is in
Splinter.
it. Yeah.
That's an interesting choice in itself, Michael.
Racially loaded, but anyway, look, we won't get into that. They've got John Cena.
John Cena, who we can't
Yeah.
see.
You can't even see him because it's animated. They've got Seth Rogen, obviously. They've got Paul Rudd, thankfully not playing one of the turtles.
Who's he playing?
It looks like they've got the whole cast of baddies in there, Ben. They've got Bebop and Rocksteady and Baxter. And yeah, they've got a whole gang of them. So looks like we're going to have a celebrity bonanza, but for relative unknown actual teenagers playing the turtles.
Great news.
Fantastic. Benjamin, they're going to upset some people by diversifying up April O'Neil.
Who gives a fuck, Michael? Like, honestly, at this point, diversity's in, diversity's hot. Let's get them in there. Everyone else can just go on, off with you. There is no need for April O'Neil to be a boring white woman.
Oh, Benjamin, I wasn't saying anything about her being white. I was saying about her not being sexy.
Oh, okay. Well, that's even better.
April O'Neil should be sexy, Benjamin. That is the most important thing about April O'Neil is that she's inappropriately sexy.
I don't think that's true.
Well,
I don't think that's true. She wore a full yellow jumpsuit that was always done up to the
great
top.
fashion sense.
They didn't even do an exploitative zip down.
Great fashion sense altogether.
Great fashion sense altogether, Michael. Great fashion sense altogether. I'm looking forward to it. I like the Beastie Boys in the background. Sold immediately.
Bebop and Rocksteady, yep.
It seems like this will have a good old-fashioned New York vibe to it. I believe, as they say, Michael, the city itself will be a character.
Oh, very clever. They do say that quite often.
Yeah, it's a very common thing that we say about things.
Cliché
Even down
almost.
to the logo for this, Michael. This is a real love letter to the original kind of radical out there cowabunga dudes. It's great.
Brilliant. We don't want edgy turtles. We don't want any more edgy turtles. We don't want any more cynical adult turtles. We don't want Michael Bay.
Get out of here, Michael Bay. Get out.
Yeah.
Go.
Although at least in that film, Ben, April O'Neil was sexy. And as we know, and as we've all agreed two things on this week's episode, Benjamin.
we
Ryan
haven't.
Quanton is the greatest living actor.
Yes.
And April O'Neil should be sexy.
And J.K. Simmons should voice all horny elder gods from now on.
Very good, Benjamin.
Yes.
Speaking of ubiquity, Ben,
Go on.
Pedro Pascal is back. He's on our screens nonstop.
Michael, this week I watched Pedro Pascal as he begrudgingly took a young ward on a journey through a perilous escape and was beset upon by various things, the worst of which being humanoids.
Oh, was it We Could Be Heroes, the Disney Channel show from last year?
Yeah, it was that. I watched that. I was
No
I
use.
was supposed to watch The Mandalorian season 3 episode 1, but I watched whatever that thing
Yeah,
was.
We Could Be Heroes. It's no use. It's absolutely dreadful. That muck.
I've never heard of it, Michael, so that tells you how much. Michael, Mando is back. Mando is back, baby.
Mando sounds like a food.
Yes, it's a Mandalorian. It's a fruit that you can buy in Phuket in Thailand, and it smells really, really bad but tastes delicious, Michael.
Oh, that's a durian, I believe.
Right, sorry, I got that mixed up. A Mandalorian is a very hard fruit, Michael, that tastes a little bit like a lychee.
Oh.
Yeah, but you have to wait for it to ripen under the ground. So you have to dig a hole and you have to put it in a paper bag and you have to put it under the ground and then there you go.
I think that's a durian again.
Oh, okay. I watched a TV show, Michael.
Go on, tell me about it. I'd love to hear about it.
So the Mando season 3, Michael.
Go on.
What to say about this, Michael?
I don't know. Are you going to be negative or positive? Are you going to be
I'm
turtles
torn.
and glorious, or are you going to be?
I'm torn, Michael.
Night at the Haunted Museum, or what are you going to be?
I think, Michael, we should try and be positive about this.
Okay, well, I haven't seen it, so I have no take.
But I think to do this, Michael, we have to look at what Disney has decided to do to The Mandalorian.
Wasn't Andor very good?
Andor was very good, and Disney seems to have decided that The Mandalorian should not be that.
Oh, very good. It should not be very good. Okay.
No. Should not be Andor. Andor is the first glimpse that we ever got at a Star Wars universe that is actually fucked. Okay. It's not a good place. It's pretty dark, Michael.
Go on.
And I was all for that. I was like, yes, that's very good.
Yeah, you love a dark universe, Benjamin.
I love a dark universe, Michael. I miss Tom Cruise's The Mummy. I want more of that.
Yeah, you were hoping for, what's his name, to be the Invisible Man.
The Invisible Man.
Johnny Depp.
It'll probably be John Cena, Michael. But come here to me. What we get in this is very much a set-up episode. There's nothing to write home about in this episode.
All right, let's move on then.
No, well, we still have to do it, Michael, because we do a weekly pop culture podcast. What we open on, Michael, is a Mandalorian helmeting ceremony.
Oh.
Which isn't as dirty as it sounds. It's not
great.
Ryan Quanton and J.K. Simmons in a bathroom. What it is...
Come over here and let me give you a Mandalorian helmeting.
What it actually is.
Ben, say that in J.K. Simmons' voice.
A Mandalorian helmeting.
Give me pictures of Spider-Man.
Get me pictures of a Mandalorian helmeting. So come here to me, Michael. What it actually is it's a young foundling taking the oath of never removing his helmet.
Oh.
And what happens is the ceremony is we get to see the armorer, Michael. The armorer is back.
The lady with the hammer. Yeah, I remember her.
We get to see a big bulky Mandalorian with a Gatling gun. He's back.
Oh, I remember him and his backpack.
Yeah, he's never gotten a name. But what happens is, Michael, in the middle of this ceremony, it's attacked by a giant alligator Star Wars beast, right?
Oh, a classic, straight out of the swamp.
No, straight out of a coastline, Michael. They're at a lovely beach.
Oh,
it's very beach wedding circa 2001. It's very nice. But then the alligator thing comes along and it's huge, Michael. It's fucking massive.
Right. What's it doing?
And what happens is it attacks. It just tries to destroy the ceremony. And I thought, Michael, initially when I was watching this, I was like, oh, it must be an enemy of the Mandalorians having unleashed a beast. No. It's just a random attack because they didn't scout the area well enough. And then this giant beast came to eat a few of them. And, Michael, they're having a terrible time.
No wonder they're nearly extinct.
No wonder. They fight this thing and they're fucking useless, Michael.
Oh, no.
And what happens is the Mandalorian comes in on the fancy new yoke that he has, the speeder. I don't know what it is. It's a magic ship.
Yeah.
And he blasts it. And he lands.
Oh, good idea.
And then he's reminded, Michael. So all it does is serve to show is this Mandalorian is the best Mandalorian. And I'm all for that. But then he comes into the armorer and he says, I'd like to not be an exile anymore. And she's like, you can't do it. Mandalore's fucked. You can't go there. You can't bathe in the waters underneath the mines and remove your sin. You can't do it. And it just doesn't work, right?
And what does he say? I'm going to do it anyway.
And he says, oh, well, I'll find it and then I'll clear my name. And Michael, that's what it sets up. So to do this, he does a classic Mandalorian.
Go on.
And he goes around, he sees all his pals and he starts recruiting them again.
Oh, he loves doing that. Mandalorian, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
So, Michael, do you remember I-77, the robot that looked after thing that was destroyed completely because he has a huge sacrifice, and it's actually a very touching moment where the Mandalorian learns to trust robots again, and there's a real bond there, and we really feel for that robot as he self-destructs to protect the baby.
Was that Taika Waititi?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I do
He's coming
remember.
back, Michael. He's coming back. So it turns out all that's wrong, all that's stopping them from rebooting this robot is a broken memory circuit. So the
that's easy enough
Mandalorian's
to
going to
fix.
find one of those. But the problem
Yeah.
is, Michael, they're hard to find.
Oh, he's gone off on a quest.
Got off on a quest. And Michael, wouldn't you know it, when he's visiting his old friend, Carl Weathers.
Oh yeah, the character Carl Weathers, yeah.
Carl Weathers has turned the original port of Scum and Villainy into a lovely little Mediterranean town, not unlike Lagos in Portugal.
Oh, sounds lovely. Sounds
Yeah.
beautiful.
But Michael, there's a problem.
Oh no.
Because it used to be a hive of scum and villainy, a lot of scum and villains are still dropping by.
Oh yeah, they're like, this isn't as good as it used to be.
This isn't as good as it used to be, Michael. And Michael, what we're talking to then, we're introduced to the notion of a pirate king in space, Michael.
Oh, that sounds great.
And then it turns out that it's a Jim Henson Muppets reject. Because what we
Sounds
get...
even better. You're getting me
What
on
we-
board now, Ben. You're really dragging me in here.
What we get, Michael, is a bizarre, highly kind of moulded and decorated fucking Muppet.
That sounds great.
So anyway, Michael, he's crossed the Pirate King. He's off to find a memory strip. There's weird big beasts in the hyperwarp for some reason. But Michael, all of this should be terrible. But it's not. Because
Sounds fabulous.
what they've done, Michael, is they've gone for a very family-friendly Mandalorian episode.
Oh.
Bo-Katan is there. They have words. Bo-Katan now spends her time sitting around in a big palace on one of the planets within the Mandalorian Rim, is what it's called. And Michael, it's just Ireland. It's
good.
just Ireland.
Oh,
He just sets down off, like if they had panned the camera to the left, Michael, and the pub from Banshees of Inisherin had been there, I would have been like, yeah, that's
that
not
rings
unexpected. But Michael, it's fine. It works. It's a bit dull.
Okay.
But
But
it's a
set
bit
up.
dull. But it's good. It gives you the Mandalorian moments that you want. Baby Grogs is there. He's hanging out with Din Djarin. They're chilling together, having a good time. Carl Weathers is still, Mando, my friend, how the hell are you? And it's good. It's all there. But I think that might also be the problem, is that we've seen it all a lot. I don't know how much more questing in space I can take.
But he'll have to go on another quest later to get another team up.
Yeah, and so Carl Weathers' character gives him an offer. He wants him to be the sheriff of the sector.
Oh, the sheriff of the whole sector.
The whole damn sector, Michael. He wants him. Wants him to be there and to police the thing. And we find out that Cara Dune, Michael, she was recruited directly back into special forces. We couldn't keep her. She was too good. And I was like, no, that's not what happened. Get the fuck out of here.
I think she was anti-vax as well, though. I think that's also
That's
what
not
it was.
what happened, Carl Weathers. But anyway, that's what we got. It's not bad. I think fans of The Mandalorian are going to be there, but he's lost his real sort of sense of cool. I found myself kind of longingly remembering the opening scenes of episode 1, season 1, where he comes into a bar and he bounty hunts his way through the bar, and then, he takes out an entire cadre of stormtroopers. There's a lot more practical effects. They've really let go of the practical effects, Michael. We got a lot of CGI animals and stuff this time. So, it was interesting to see. So we're in a season 3 kind of, this is fine, we know what we're doing, roll the hits, and that's okay.
Let's go on a quest.
It could get a lot better. I don't know, Michael. I don't know, because I haven't seen it.
We'll find out soon.
We'll find
Benjamin,
out
you know
soon.
what I have seen?
Go on.
Better late than never in many ways.
That's what they've always said about me.
Better late than never, Colopy. That's what they call you. Benjamin, I forgot this whole time. I've got this little action figure here of J.K. Simmons. Just
There
staring
he
at
is.
him.
Look at him, the big eldritch horror.
Look at him. He's just going, get me pictures of Spider-Man. Benjamin, better late than never. I have finally seen 2022's Knock at the Cabin by one M. Night Shyamalan.
It's 2023, Michael.
Was it?
Yeah, it was this year.
Did it come out this year? I tell you what, Benjamin. You tell me from the trailer what Knock at the Cabin is about, please?
Um,
Do you remember?
yeah, there's an apocalypse.
Okay,
There doesn't have to be an apocalypse.
go on.
We could maybe not have an apocalypse if we do what Dave Bautista says.
Yeah,
But what Dave Bautista says isn't great.
because you have to do a bad thing.
Because you have to murder your families.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it? I get it right?
That's it, yeah. That's
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the film?
That's the film.
All right.
That's the film. That's it.
Cool. So Victorian era novel.
No, that's it, Ben. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's mental.
Imagine that. But for like an hour and 20 minutes.
All right, you're done.
And that's it then.
That was
That's it.
very
It's
easy
over.
to imagine, Michael.
Yeah. Yeah. One set, one location.
Yeah.
6, 7 people in it. And that's it. And yeah, that's it.
That sounds okay.
Yeah, it's okay, yeah. If you think that you would like that concept,
Go for it.
go for it.
Dave Bautista, any
that's-
good?
He's pretty good, yeah. He's,
I like Dave.
Yeah, he seems nice enough, and you know, he does some good acting.
Do you think Dave would be on the podcast?
Yeah, probably. I think he might be a bit bitter these days, though.
Why?
I don't know. I don't think he likes Guardians of the Galaxy anymore. I think he's worried about being typecast.
Well, he's kind of avoided that deftly now. It would probably help Michael if he didn't keep working out to turn himself into a human boulder.
He's massive, Ben. The
He's
best,
huge, Michael.
probably the only funny and unexpected bit was Ron Weasley being in it and playing Paul Giamatti.
Why is Ron Weasley in it?
Ron Weasley's one of the people who knocks at the cabin.
Get out of town!
Yeah,
Ronald Weasley
Oh,
is telling
Ronald
people to murder their families.
Yeah. But he's just doing a big Paul Giamatti. It's one of the most accurate Paul Giamatti impressions I've ever seen in my life.
Is that because Paul Giamatti would never go near another M. Night Shyamalan picture as long as he
I
lived?
wouldn't necessarily say that, but yeah, it's an incredible bit of, like, it's not bad. It's not great. It's exactly what the trailer promises you.
That's not bad in this day and age, Michael.
I suppose so. And I mean, maybe M. Night Shyamalan's a bit twist shy these days as well.
I'd say, he's pulled the trigger too many times, Michael.
Exactly. So this is utterly twistless. And I mean, it even establishes a couple of mysteries and doesn't bother answering them. To the point where you could consider them plot holes, or you could consider them, oh, is this some sort of cosmic twist of fate? But I wasn't left caring to find out, to be honest. It was just like, yeah, that was fine. It's over now. That's okay.
So what is it, Michael?
Well, there's an apocalypse, Ben.
Yeah.
And these 4 people come and knock at the cabin and say, you have to kill your family to stop the apocalypse.
That's not great.
Yeah, and they go, will you do that?
Is there any hint, Michael, that they're telling the truth?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a thing.
Yeah.
And will they not do it?
No.
That's a bit selfish, isn't it?
Well, that's the story. That's the plot.
That's a bit selfish.
But that's the plot, Ben.
Michael, you might have sold this to me. I might go watch Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods is a different, better film about a cabin in the woods stopping an apocalypse.
I know, that's why I said I'd go watch that one.
Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah, Cabin in the Woods better. But yeah, it's good. It's not bad. It's not terrible. It's an interesting concept, and it's well acted and well presented, and it's mildly diverting, and then it's over.
That's mad.
Yeah.
Michael, why do they do that? Why did they make that film?
That's the film, yeah. That's the film. I've never seen a film so succinctly summed up in a trailer before in my entire life. Yeah, I mean, the only question you might have is, do they do it?
Do they do?
And
Yeah.
I'm
Come here
not
to
going
me,
to tell
Michael.
you. I'm not going to
Michael,
tell
you
you.
tell
if
me
they do
off
it.
air. You tell me off air the minute we're finished.
No,
this
no,
podcast.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to
Fuck
tell you.
you.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
I
can
don't
look
want to
it
watch
up.
this film.
You can look it up on Wikipedia if you want, or you could watch it.
I don't want to give M. Night my money anymore.
Just pirate it, Ben.
I paid $4.99 to rent Lady in the Water. I won't do it again.
Yeah, that was great, wasn't it? We put like a good €8 into M. Night Shyamalan's coffers that week.
That's the most money he's made off that movie in about 5 years.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got a lot of M. Night Shyamalan's things as well, like personal decisions averting apocalypses. There's even touches of maybe some of his other mad films, like maybe The Happening, because The Happening was an apocalypse film. Maybe The Happening could have been averted if someone in a cabin had killed their wife.
Oh, so is that an implication?
No, no. There's no implications in this whatsoever, Ben.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's nothing to read into. This is just so straightforward and simple. And it's almost disarming.
Is it ever explained how the four people that knock at the cabin know this?
Yeah.
Oh, can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, it's dreams.
Sorry?
Dreams. It's dreams.
Michael, you're being far too blasé about this. I feel like
That's what it is. It's
I feel like
dreams.
you watched a crock of shit.
No, I haven't. It's okay. I'm telling you, it's okay. It's just exactly what it says on the tin.
Oh, you fuck. Oh, if you get me with this. If I watch this, if you get to watch Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and I have to watch fucking Cabin in the Woods,
It's a
not
deal.
so good. Knock knock.
Kevin, knock knock, who's there? It's me, Dave Bautista.
You fuck. You little fuck.
Knock knock,
Right.
who's there? It's me, Dave Bautista, and I've brought Ron Weasley with me.
Michael, you're maddening me as much as yellow wallpaper does to women.
Oh, very good. Let's hit it.
So, Michael, it's March.
Oh yeah, is it? Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's March, yeah, it is, yeah. I know time has become fluid for you since you found yourself appreciating M. Night Shyamalan movies, but
Everything's just very straightforward.
everything's just very straightforward. It's March,
Everything's
Michael,
just March
and
now.
we found ourselves struggling for an episode this week.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
be
yeah.
honest.
Yeah, we forgot.
And I seem to remember the phrase March Madness, and it turns out, Michael, that's a sporting phrase. It's got nothing to do with what I thought it had to do with. But yeah, March Madness is a marketing term for a large sequence of sporting events in the United States. But instead, Michael, we're going to do a little breakdown of how Victorian era literature really shaped perceptions of insanity and mental health, and ones that still linger with us today, Michael.
Benjamin, that's not the origin of the term March Madness. March Madness comes from the mating season of hares.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, you've heard the term mad as a March hare?
Yeah, have you?
Yeah, that's because March is when male hares fight each other for dominance, and ladies, essentially. And that's when they leper out the place and they get up on their back legs and they whack at each other loads of times really fast.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish this was a visual medium because fuck me, that was... That's incredible! How dare you unleash that comedic genius? So you're telling me, Michael, that March Madness is just horny hares?
Yeah, exactly.
Hopped up horny hares.
Yeah, that's all March Madness is. And then obviously the Americans took it and went, our sails are mad as a March hare. Whackity whackity whack. And then it just became March Madness.
I don't think Americans would be very happy to find out that some of their key sporting and sales events were based on a dirty bit of horned up herring.
Oh, yeah. The randy
I don't think
fuckers.
they'd appreciate that.
Yeah. Very randy, those Americans.
Oh, randy Americans. Well, Michael, I tell you who wasn't randy.
The Victorians.
The Victorians. That's not true, Michael. Nobody was randier than the Victorians, Michael. The bloody horny bastards. But nobody was better at hiding it than the Victorians. Right? So much so, Michael, that what would happen is, so horny were these Victorians, right?
Go on.
That occasionally their wives might be a bit miffed at them, Michael. They might go, well, darling, do you not think that perhaps you could not stick your cock in every single woman that looked your way?
Look, we've got a painting of an elder god on the wall. Why don't you just fuck that?
Why don't you just fuck that? J.K. Simmons has come along. Lord Simmons will voice him from behind that shade, and you can have your way with it. And that wasn't enough to sate them, Michael, but a lot of well-to-do Victorian men were out and about, slinging dick. Michael.
Yeah.
Slinging dick left, right and centre. And occasionally, Michael, a wife would say, hang on, hold your horses, you hopped up March hare.
Yes. Very good.
Steady.
You've tied it back.
Yes. Steady. We've tied it back, Michael. We've come full circle. And then, Michael, that man would take that personally and say, well, fucking, I'll stick my cock what I want.
And all of the men in the Victorian era were just Matt Berry, were they?
It was more Winston Churchill by way of Matt Berry, but yeah, I get you. I get what you mean. And they went, I tell you what, Benign darling, you're being a little bit hysterical. And that was the real kicker, Michael. That was a real fucking earth-shattering phrase to throw around, because if you're hysterical, you might just have to spend some time in a large Gothic building with very heavy doors and a lot of mattresses. And that wasn't great.
No use.
So, Michael, what we quite often had there was the forcible incarceration of women who simply didn't take too well to their husbands' dalliances.
No use at all.
Most famously,
Yes.
Charles Dickens.
Who?
Charles Dickens.
Charles Dickens.
A
Go on.
Christmas Carol, Michael.
Yeah.
A
What was the name of the
bloody
woman he was...
Hard Times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This all makes sense now.
Bloody Great Expectations.
Yeah. He had great expectations of some hard times with Carol. His wife was very upset.
So anyway, he had his wife committed.
he?
Michael. Yeah, he had her fucking tucked away.
Get
for
rid of her.
hysteria. For hysteria, Michael. And, this was such a prevalent thing back then in the Victorian era, Michael. And it wasn't talked about an awful lot, right? And for good reason. It was a patriarchy, Michael, in the most extreme sense. And I know today we can bandy about the concept that, are men really doing that much better than women? The answer is probably still yes. But back then, undeniably so. Undeniably so. Empirically, Michael, was a fact. Don't you look at that and stroke your beard.
I don't think you're right there. I don't
you.
think... No, hold on a second. This statements like this can't be taken as a given. Men did not have a better time than women in the Victorian era. For one thing, they were down the fucking coal mines. The women weren't down the coal mines, Ben. The women weren't getting the black lung. The women weren't getting scurvy on sailing ships. They weren't getting crushed by steel girders, Ben. I don't think... No, genuinely, I don't think you can apply modern politics to the Victorian period. I think that almost every era of human history has been built around a structure of humans trying their best to make life as good as possible for as many people as possible, and then some leeches leeching off that and becoming super successul. And we have that. We've always had that, be it through royal families or warlords or tyrants or tech billionaires, or there's always going to be leeches who take advantage of any social system. But I don't think the Victorian era was rough for humanity.
Yeah, all right.
And the systems that they had in place were not some mad system that they designed specifically to keep women in place and to give men the cushy number. It was the best they had with the science and technology and knowledge at the time.
You're a fucker.
to get the most benefit out of it for the most people. So, yeah.
You're
anyway,
a
go on.
piece of shit.
Go on. With my logic and my reason, yeah. All horrible things.
You're a fucker. So anyway, Michael,
Yeah.
so prevalent was this as a practice, right? That it was all boiled down to the concept of hysteria. And hysteria was really whatever the doctor needed to get you locked away.
Yes.
Yeah. So it could be a hormonal fluctuation due to your period or something like that, and the doctor would be like, oh, that's a hint of hysteria, bye-bye, and they get rid of you. You could have been mildly annoyed at your husband for staying too late at the club that weekend. That sounds unreasonable. That could be hysteria. Get out of here. Yeah.
This is on the border of becoming a historical research podcast, but was this a phenomenon kind of limited to the upper middle classes?
Oh, 100%.
You don't hear about, the dock worker and his wife who sells the fish. She wasn't getting sent off for hysteria.
No, absolutely
She probably
not.
never even seen a doctor in her life.
It was very much a weaponized term used to enforce I suppose a social structure of men getting what they want at an upper middle class level, upper middle class and very much middle class. I don't know if we could fully argue that the middle classes were fully established at that point. That's kind of really emerges alongside plastic. But, you know, when we look at this, Michael, it's so prevalent was this notion that a woman could be deemed hysterical at any point that a very, very famous horror novella was written about it by a woman called Charlotte Perkins Gilman.
How did she learn to write?
She had to do it quietly in the attic alongside the mad woman from Jane Eyre.
Okay, right, yeah.
And
that woman in the old bride's dress from Great Expectations. What was
that woman in the old bride's dress
Mrs.
from
Havisham.
Great Expectations. Mrs. Havisham. Mrs. Havisham, behave. Anyway, that was very Mark Hamill does drag. Anyway, Michael.
Yes.
Getting back to Charlotte Perkins Gilman, right?
Yes.
Charlotte Perkins Gilman is an American auteur at the time. And one of the very important things, if you look this woman up, because her name is Charlotte Perkins Gilman, and the first thing it says in her Wikipedia is Charlotte Perkins Gilman, also better known by her first married name, Charlotte Perkins Stetson, which isn't true because it doesn't come up unless you type in Charlotte Perkins Gilman. But anyway, irrelevant. She writes a very famous novel called The Yellow Wallpaper.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of The Yellow Wallpaper?
No, are you talking about The King in Yellow, Ben?
No, I'm not, Michael.
No, I've never heard of The Yellow Wallpaper. What's going on in it?
So, The Yellow Wallpaper is about a woman who has been housebound by a doctor for hysteria.
Right.
Okay? She has been forced to spend time in her room to recuperate from hysteria.
Okay.
That's it. That's the premise that we're dealing with when we deal with this. But over the course of her stay, Michael, there is an insidious yellow wallpaper in her room.
Okay, from the film Insidious.
From the film Insidious. There's a big lipstick demon from Insidious, and he's hanging out in the room, and he drives her mad. And nobody talks about how the film Insidious was completely plagiarized from the classic Victorian novella The Yellow Wallpaper. No, that's not what we're saying here, Michael. But what happens is, over time, the yellow wallpaper begins to corrupt the mind of the main character in the yellow wallpaper. She begins to go mad. Now, what that yellow wallpaper is actually a symbol of is the kind of it's not capitalist chains, because that particular critique hadn't fully emerged yet, but it's the notion that a comfortable life will do you more harm than good because you will give up more than you gain as a woman.
Oh.
Which, funnily enough, touches on your point from a little bit earlier where we talked about, was this happening at a working class level during that time? No. So this woman has married a man, and the man, as it turns out, not great.
Oh, yeah.
Not great, Michael.
It's the author Charles Dickens.
And what happens is the yellow wallpaper slowly drives this woman absolutely insane.
Okay, because she's just looking at the wallpaper all day.
She's just looking at exactly, Michael. Now, the way that it's written, Michael, would have you believe that there was a very supernatural element involved. But when you analyze this properly, what it actually is this woman has just been bound to her room and driven mad by wallpaper.
It sounds brilliant. Evil wallpaper.
Evil wallpaper. Michael, it is one of the best written bottle episodes you'll ever read in your life.
It's a hysterical woman gone mad Victorian nightmare.
Bottle episode. 100%. And interestingly, Michael, predates The King in Yellow by 3 years.
Oh, well, I mean, the only thing they have in common is the word yellow, so...
Yeah, but big thing in the Victorian era. Primarily down to the fact that yellow was associated with all kinds of racist things and insidious sin and all these kinds of things, including the classic penny dreadfuls, Michael, which were always bound in yellow.
Why were they bound in yellow, though?
They were bound in yellow, Michael, because they were cheaper and they let people know the kind of sensationalist, scandalous stuff they'd find within the pages. They were bound in yellow. Bram Stoker's Dracula, famously first bound in yellow.
Famous Irishman Bram Stoker.
Famous Irishman Bram Stoker. I'm always curious about that, Michael, because when we talk about that, he wasn't really. He was very British leaning, that Bram Stoker. We'll take him.
I will take him.
Well, we'll take him. Because Lord knows if it was the other way around, they'd take him. Huh?
Well, Benjamin, anyone born in Ireland in the 1800s, was Bram Stoker born in the 1800s or the 1700s?
That's a great question. I'll look it up.
Doesn't matter. But anyone born in Ireland in that era was also British.
Yes.
He was both.
Yes.
He was Irish and British because Ireland was British. Not by choice.
Absolutely.
Not by option, Ben. But have you read Dracula?
I have, yeah.
It's a great little travelogue at the start, isn't it?
Lovely. It's lovely. He's having a great time.
Having a great time over here in Romania.
Yeah, in Romania over there.
Yeah.
It's great. It's lovely. The idyllic scenery, right up until the wolves following the wolves knocking about. It's lovely. Romania sounds lovely.
Villagers are a bit weird, but it's foreign, so I suppose that's normal for people of my era.
Yeah, that's normal. They haven't been civilised by the British yet. I must get in touch with the lads in Africa and see if they're done and fancy a spot closer to home.
Benjamin, speaking of Victorian tropes and terrors,
go on.
Is the brash American gunslinger character, was that from that era, or is that something that we've looking back attributed to it? Because practically every, not all, but it's a very common trope to bring in an American brash, like Quincy. Is his name Quincy Jones? No, that's not right. What's Quincy's name in Dracula?
It's something Quincy. His second name is Quincy.
Is it?
Is it Howard Quincy?
Is it?
I don't know.
But then
Roger?
from Roger Quincy.
I don't know.
I can't remember his name. But Benjamin, then it's pretty common when you're doing a Victorian era. Quincy Morris.
Quincy Morris. Oh, damn it.
Of the Dracula hunting Morrises. It's become a kind of it's a bit of a stock Victorian character now to bring in a brash American gunslinger who's got these modern ideas about freedom.
Bog standard. Because
they did it in one of your favourite shows, Penny Dreadful. They had Josh Hartnett playing
everybody's
Ethan
favourite
Chandler.
Josh Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett playing Ethan Chandler. They even did it in Alan Moore's The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Huck Finn.
They had Huckleberry Finn, Benjamin. Yeah. Almost against Alan Moore's very wishes. Although, so what? Who cares about Alan Moore's wishes at this stage?
I think Alan Moore's wishes are to have big fish men do terrible things to women, so we should probably leave that out.
Yeah, that's in the Neonomicon.
It's in the Neonomicon and it's no good. Ladies and gentlemen, it's rare that I'll tell you not to touch anything. Don't ever read the Neonomicon or the original run of The Boys from Dynamite Comics.
Yeah, they're two of our least favourites. Benjamin, we put up a poll about the Victorian era and the various horrors contained therein.
Yeah.
On Instagram today. One of our best ever polls, Benjamin. We asked the Instagrammer listeners, we asked them what was the worst way for a Victorian to go. Now, you didn't put on the poll this week, driven to madness by yellow wallpaper.
I might have.
Or isolation. If you'd thought of it, you might have. Instead, Benjamin, we put 1, mauled to death by a mummy. We haven't even talked about mummies. We put 2, be bitten by a Dracula.
Yeah.
We put 3, be utterly spooked by a ghost.
Yeah.
And we put 4, tuberculosis. And I tell you what, we've had a runaway winner this week.
Yeah, Michael, and it's exactly what you think.
It's tuberculosis, yeah.
It's tuberculosis, lads. It's proving once again the scariest thing is reality itself.
Exactly, Benjamin.
Absolutely.
Tuberculosis is a very common trope. There's no tuberculosis in your yellow wallpaper show, is there?
Well, there is actually firmly hinted at in it that she is suffering from some form of consumption.
Oh, the consumption, Ben, famously being the Victorian name for tuberculosis.
For tuberculosis. We now know it as tuberculosis, but it was once upon a time consumption. So she's a southern belle taken to the bale with a hint of the consumption.
Very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, consumption won it, Ben, with 82% of the votes.
Out of a lot of votes. We had a lot of votes today.
Not an insignificant number of votes either. Not like one vote for consumption and nothing for the rest. Just consumption utterly ran away with it.
Tell you what, you wouldn't be doing much
scared.
of if you did have consumption, Michael.
Go on.
Running away.
No.
No, fucking good. Ladies and gentlemen, what is your favourite bloody bizarre insanity from the Victorian area? You can get in touch with us in a few different ways and let us know. You can find us on the interwebs, www.seomrabeag.com, seomrabeag.com.
It means tiny room in Irish.
It does indeed. You can find us on Instagram at Sure Look, Sure Listen Podcast.
It means Sure Look, Sure Listen in English.
Does indeed. You can find us on Twitter at ListenSure for some bizarre reason.
For some bizarre reason, you can. I would never do anything with it. But look, there's only so much we can manage. Things are going better now.
Things are going better now. You can find us on something that is going slightly better now, which is TikTok. You can find us at Sure Look, Sure Listen Podcast on TikTok.
Yeah, you find Ben. I don't know what TikTok
I
is.
just upload stuff on TikTok for the lads. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the best way to get in touch with us and to share your hysteria, your madness, your suspicions about that bloody yellow wallpaper in the corner of your room, get up on the Discord.
Hop up on it,
Hop
Benjamin.
up on it. Hop up on it. Ladies and gentlemen.
Medically proven to be the best way to avoid getting tuberculosis.
Medically proven. Interact
Just don't
digitally.
go out. Yeah, just don't go out.
digitally.
Yeah.
Just gonna do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm off to go pick some wallpaper in the corner of my room. Bye-bye.
I'm off to get some medicine for my slight cough. See you next Tuesday.